Here are the top stories for today, August 20, 2020. More establishments open as Metro Manila and nearby areas shift back to general community quarantine. Over 100 persons evacuate from a town in Masbate after it was struck by a magnitude 6.6 earthquake. Local laboratory experts look into the possible use of saliva to test for COVID-19. And the country is likely to avail of a vaccine for COVID-19 by the second quarter next year. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. For our top story, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque announced some establishments which are now open and reiterates the importance of strictly following the health protocols. Let's watch this.
Lahat po ng essential establishments ay bukas na sa ilalim ng GCQ. Ang dine-in restaurants po at salons at barbershop ay pinapayagan na rin po magbukas sa GCQ, pero ang kapasidad po nito ay nakadepende po sa lokal na pamahalaan kung saan sila nag-ooperate. Ang mga hindi pa po bukas ay ang establishmento na nag-aalok ng personal care at aesthetic procedures, ang services, gyms, fitness studios and sports facilities, tutorial centers, review centers, internet cafes, drive-in, cinemas, pet grooming services. Kasama rin sa mga hindi pinapayagan ang mga establishmento na nasa Category 4, kasama rito ang language, driving, dance, acting, voice schools, entertainment industries, tulad ng sinihan at teatro, libraries, archives, museums, and cultural centers, full body massage, tattoo, and body piercing at live events. Mahigpit din pong pinagbabawal ang sabong at pagbubukas ng sabungan, mga beer house at mga nightclub at kid abusement industries. Ngayong nasa GCQ na po tayo, sa Metro Manila at sa karatig na probinsya, asahan na marami na rin po ang lalabas at magtatrabaho. Inuulit ko po ingat buhay po tayo para sa hanap buhay.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development says it is on track in completing the payouts for the Government Social Amelioration Program, or SAP. The DSWD says it has already rolled out some 77.9 billion pesos worth of cash assistance to 13 million and 80 family beneficiaries under the second tranche. DSWD Secretary Rolando Bautista assured the public that while there may have been delays in the distribution of the SAP-2 aid, the agency is using all its resources to complete the distribution to its 14.1 million family beneficiaries. Meanwhile, those who are disqualified in the SAP list may request for a review of their information for inclusion in the DSWD's new list called Listahanan. Through this new database, the public will be given a chance to request for a revalidation or make corrections on their household information. DSWD said the initial list will be posted in every barangay, and households that are not yet visited may also appeal for an assessment. At least 30 families or 150 individuals in Kataingan, Masbate sought refuge at the Kataingan National High School following the 6.6 magnitude quake and the series of aftershocks in their province. The Municipal Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office said almost all of the residents in the town are still in a state of shock. MDRRMO Chief Venus Rojo said they are assessing the situation in Barangay Matayum, where a meter-high sea intrusion occurred which affected 10 houses built at the shoreline. The Kataingan port continues to operate normally with minor damages such as road cracks. 9 commercial buildings are also inspected and found to have sustained structural cracks. 3 of these were found uninhabitable and for demolition. National roads in the 1st and 2nd districts of Masbate are all passable. However, one lane on the national road in Kataingan was impassable due to damage. The initial damage assessment on roads and public buildings in Masbate caused by the earthquake has reached to almost 24 million pesos. The Office of Civil Defense Regional Office in Bicol conducted an aerial survey as part of the assessment of the damages and losses in the area. According to OCD Bicol report, 19 schools in the province were damaged, 26 houses were totally damaged, while 35 were partially damaged. They also received reports of sea intrusion, landslide, and sea sinkhole in the towns of Cataingan and POV Corpus. The OCD has recorded 1 death and 48 injuries. The Department of Social Welfare and Development Regional Office for Bicol is now ready to release family food packs and financial assistance to the earthquake-affected areas in Masbate. Meanwhile, former rebels and drug surrenderers are trained into vegetable farming in Agusan. More on these and other news in the provinces from Chris Mundo.
At least 2,000 family food packs are transported to Masbate, as well as 10 tents and 10 rolls of laminated sacks for Cataingan. DSWD Bicol will also provide 10,000 pesos for casualty as burial assistance and up to 10,000 pesos for medical assistance. A cash assistance of 3,000 pesos will be given to families validated with partially damaged houses and 5,000 pesos to those with totally damaged dwellings. DSWD Bicol, through its Municipal Action Team, also assisted LGUs in Masbate during a rapid assessment to gather accurate information on the extent of damage caused by the earthquake. In Zamboanga City, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources has donated lumber to build a coronavirus disease isolation facility. The donation consisted of forfeited forest products that were confiscated in anti-illegal logging campaigns in the province. Meanwhile, Dr. Dennis Dakayanan of DOH Region 9 has called on the local government units to activate more contact tracing teams in response to the continuous increase of COVID-19 cases. In Agusan del Norte, former rebels and drug surrenderers will be provided the opportunity to become farm technicians and be part of the development of demonstration farms in different barangays. This as the Department of Agriculture in Caraga launched its People Empowerment in Agriculture for Community Enhancement or Project Peace. It is a community vegetable production project in select barangays aimed to develop the knowledge and skills of former rebels and drug surrenderers in vegetable farming. DA Executive Director Abel James Monteagudo described the project as timely as the province and the entire Caraga region need to ensure food security through food production amid the pandemic. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Mundo.
Still to come, local laboratory experts look into the possible use of saliva to test for COVID-19. A health official urges PhilHealth to shoulder the COVID-19 testing cost of micro, small, and medium enterprises. More on this when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Sa matinding laban natin sa Coronavirus Disease 2019, sugpuin din natin ang pagkalat ng fake news. Huwag magbahagi ng impormasyon na hindi tiyak ang pinagmulan. I-check mabuti ang source ng balita. Kumuha lamang ng impormasyon mula sa mga official channel ng Department of Health. Huwag magpadala sa maling balita, basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to. Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Alamin ang tamang paraan ng pag-ubo upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ugaliing magdala ng panyo o tissue. Kung uubo o babahing, takpan ang buong ilong at bibig gamit ang panyo o tissue. Kung walang dalang panyo o tissue, maaaring gamitin ang braso na pantakip. Kung nakararamdam na kailangan umubo o bumahing, agad na dumistansya sa mga tao sa paligid. Huwag dumura kung saan-saan, gumamit ng tissue at itapon sa basurahan. Ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at paggamit ng alcohol o hand sanitizer upang mamatay ang mikrobyo. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to. Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
You're still watching the PNA Newsroom. The country's laboratory experts are studying the possibility of using saliva as a specimen for COVID-19 testing. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeres said they learned about the saliva-based test for more than 3 weeks already and that the saliva-based test is not a method of testing. Citing that saliva includes food particles, Vergeres said laboratory experts showed that using them as specimens could be tedious. The country is currently using RT-PCR tests, Gen Expert, rapid antibody test, and antigen test. Vergeres said these testing methods are still being studied even if they are already being used. The United States Food and Drug Administration earlier issued an emergency use authorization to Yale School of Public Health for its Saliva Direct COVID-19 diagnostic test, which processes saliva samples for testing COVID-19 infection. The Santa Ana Hospital is one of 4 facilities in the country chosen by the Department of Health to conduct clinical trials using the anti-flu drug for the treatment of COVID-19 patients. Manila Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso confirmed that 1,300 tablets of the Japanese anti-flu drug Avigan were delivered to Santa Ana Hospital for the clinical trial, which will start on Monday, August 24. The drug will be distributed to 100 patients in these 4 hospitals for 9 months. Avigan is used to treat influenza patients in Japan and is also being used in China for treating COVID-19 patients with mild symptoms. As the National Capital Region, or NCR, eases up under the general quarantine status, local governments come up with measures that will ensure the safety and welfare of their constituents. Here's a roundup report from Rom Dulfo.
Makati is recruiting jobless PUJ drivers, particularly those hard hit by travel restrictions, to work with its innovative educational platform. Their jeepneys will be outfitted to transport books and other learning materials, teachers and librarians, and laptops with an internet connection. Each jeepney driver will be given 2,000 pesos as a daily rental for their unit. They initially targeted 27 PUJ drivers, but the number may still increase because the Jeepney Federation is proposing to do a rotation among its member drivers. In San Juan City, residents can avail of free swab testing for COVID-19 as the local government converted its San Juan Gymnasium into a testing facility. Mayor Francis Zamora says the testing facility can accommodate around 500 to 700 tests per day. Residents who wish to avail of the free swab testing should coordinate with their barangay health emergency response team or the city health office and reserve a slot. In Quezon City, business establishments are reminded of the strict implementation of health and safety protocols in the workplace. Under the guidelines, employers are now required to conduct regular health screenings of their employees and report any suspected or confirmed COVID-19 cases to the QC Epidemiology and Surveillance Unit. Establishments that conceal information on suspected or confirmed COVID-19 cases or cause delay of the city's COVID-19 response teams or contact tracers may be sanctioned with suspension or revocation of business permits and the filing and prosecution of criminal charges under applicable laws. In Manila, parents and students are told to take care of the tablets and SIM cards that they will receive from the city government, as these gadgets should be returned in good condition. Manila City Schools Division Chief Maria Magdalena Lim said the gadgets will only be lent to the students but will remain as property of DepEd Manila. She says upon distribution of the tablets, parents will have to sign an affidavit of understanding prepared by DepEd Manila. The document contains the conditions as well as the responsibilities of the students and the parents upon receiving the gadgets. In case the student or the parent isn't able to return the gadget, there is a possibility that the student will not be able to get his or her credentials, such as a school card and Form 137 from the school. Loss of the gadget could mean the discontinuation of the online studying of the student, which may eventually lead to failing grades or a total halt in studying. Downloading of other applications such as games are not possible, as the said gadget is specifically designed for online studying. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
A party-list lawmaker on Wednesday said state insurer PhilHealth should shoulder the cost for the COVID-19 tests for employees of micro, small, and medium enterprises. Bagong Henerasyon Representative Bernadette Herrera said the Department of Health should issue guidance to MSMEs on where they can have their employees undergo testing for free. Herrera said MSMEs cannot afford to shoulder the cost of COVID-19 testing. She added that PhilHealth should be part of the solution to slow the spread of the virus. For consumer protection, Herrera said the Department of Trade and Industry and the DOH should already be strictly regulating the prices of COVID-19 tests and traditional medicine. She said the DOH and Food and Drug Administration should review all the COVID-19 tests that they have approved, considering the latest data on their proven effectiveness and ineffectiveness. In our business news, the provincial government of Cebu is bent on boosting the production of corn and cassava as part of the capital's Enhanced Countryside Development Program, or ECD. Governor Gwen Garcia met with representatives of planners associations and financing institutions on Tuesday to discuss the program. During the meeting, corn and cassava have been identified as the top crops to kickstart the program aimed at improving production and filling the supply gap in achieving self-sufficiency. The capital will provide post-harvest facilities, collaborate with local government units in providing the needed technical assistance, and facilitate crop insurance to participating farmers. According to the 11 feed millers in Cebu, the projected demand for yellow corn is at 469,200 metric tons, and currently the production is short of 467,100 metric tons. Up next, the country is likely to avail of a vaccine for COVID-19 by the second quarter next year. And government troops seize food and firearms from a new People's Army hideout in Butuan City. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Tandaan ang tamang paraan ng paghuhugas at paglilinis ng kamay upang makaiwas sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Basain ng tubig ang mga kamay at sabunin. Unang sabunin ang mga palad at ang likod ng mga kamay. Kuskusin na maigi ang pagitan ng mga daliri at maging ang mga kuko. Isunod ang pagitan ng mga hinlalaki at kuskusin ng paikot ang mga dulo ng mga daliri sa magkabilang palad. Banlawang mabuti ang mga kamay sa malinis na tubig at patuyuin ang mga kamay gamit ang single-use towel o air dryer. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Alamin kung paano ang tamang pagsusuot ng surgical mask. Una, hawakan ang mask sa strap at siguruhing natatakpan nito ang inyong bibig at ilong. Tandaan, ang may kulay na bahagi ng mask ang dapat nasa labas. Ito lamang ang tamang paraan ng pagsuot nito. Ihulma ang nose piece o maliit na metallic strip ayon sa hugis ng inyong ilong. Iwasan ang paghawak sa inyong ilong at bibig. Kung marumi na ang mask, hubarin ito gamit ang strap at itapon ito sa isang basurahan. Siguruhin ang maayos na paghuhugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig. Ang surgical mask ay dapat gamitin ng mga pasyenteng may sakit sa baga o mga taong mayroong ubo, sipon at lagnat, mga nag-aalaga sa mga may sakit, at mga healthcare at frontline workers. Maaari ring magsuot nito kung kayo ay pupunta sa matataong lugar. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
A COVID-19 vaccine will likely be available in the Philippines by the second quarter of 2021, and clinical trials will start in the country by the fourth quarter of 2020. DOST Undersecretary Rowena Cristina Guevara said the clinical trials would involve not just the vaccine made in Russia, but also those pre-qualified by the World Health Organization as part of the Solidarity trial. The DOST is pursuing collaboration with bilateral partners whereby vaccine companies may undertake clinical trial phase 3 in the country. Lulu Bravo, Executive Director of Philippine Foundation for Vaccination, said the Philippines is among the favorite places of manufacturers to conduct clinical trials. Food and Drug Administration Director General Eric Domingo, meanwhile, noted that the Phase 3 clinical trial will not be accepted in the country if safety, security, and some level of efficiency were not proven in Phase 1 and Phase 2 trials. World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus on Tuesday calls on countries to share their supplies to fight COVID-19 strategically and globally, as he warns against supply nationalism around the development of vaccines and medicines. The WHO lists 25 candidate vaccines in clinical evaluation and 139 preclinical evaluation to fight the novel coronavirus. 6 COVID-19 vaccine candidates have reached the Phase 3 level. 3 are from China, 1 is developed by a British-Swedish company working with Oxford University, and 2 by U.S. scientists. Tedros said that from a logistics perspective, COVID-19 has been one of the toughest challenges ever faced by the WHO. It meant that for a period, some countries were without crucial supplies, such as key items for health workers who are dealing with surging cases of COVID-19. The WHO has launched the ACT Accelerator, a global collaboration to speed up development, production, and equitable access to COVID-19 tests, treatments, and vaccines. The remains of the overseas Filipino worker killed in an explosion in Beirut, Lebanon, arrived in her home province of Guimaras on Tuesday. The provincial government of Guimaras said the body of 67-year-old Milagros Sumaculob was flown in on Monday and transported to Iloilo on Tuesday. The repatriation of her remains was done with the assistance of the Office of Senator Bongo, the Department of Foreign Affairs, Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, Office of the Civil Defense, and the provincial government. Her body was received by members of her family. The victim, who worked for more than 15 years as a household helper in Lebanon, went home to her hometown in Buena Vista, Guimaras in 2018. She was supposed to go home for good December this year. The victim died while being treated at the American University Hospital after the explosion. Soldiers in Butuan City have seized a hideout of the New People's Army with the help of tip-offs by civilians. In South Cotabato, the provincial government has opened a halfway house for former rebels. Marita Moay with more.
Civilian tip-offs led to the discovery of a hideout of the Communist New People's Army in Butuan City. The Army's 23rd Infantry Battalion said that information provided by villagers led to the discovery of the NPA hideout in a forested area of Sitio Lamusig, Barangay Tungao on Tuesday. The raid resulted in the recovery of high-powered firearms, ammunition, and food supplies. The Army expressed gratitude to the villagers who provided the information, saying the CPP-NPA terrorists are losing mass support. Meanwhile, the provincial government of South Cotabato unveiled Tuesday a 5 million pesos halfway house for returning NPA rebels. The halfway house will mainly serve as processing center for former rebels as part of the local government's initiative under the Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program. Since last year, over 100 NPA rebels under guerrilla fronts 72 and 73 of the NPA Far South Mindanao region have surrendered to the government. In other news, the Army ruled that the NPA was responsible for the abduction and killing of a Surigao del Norte policeman whose body was found Tuesday, August 18 in Barangay Matinao, Mainit Town. The Army's 901st Infantry Brigade said that Police Staff Sergeant Resti Dandan was killed by the NPA's Guerrilla Front 16 led by a certain Rolando Layson Jr. after 18 days in captivity. Dandan was kidnapped by armed men on July 31 in Barangay San Isidro, Sison Town. The NPA, however, has not confirmed nor denied whether it was responsible. Colonel George Banso, 901st Brigadier Commander, called on Surigao del Norte residents to unite in denouncing the communist rebel movement. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Marita Muaje.
Government troops have reached out to a barangay in Madalum, Lanao del Sur, which was previously plagued by terrorists, to instill peace and security in the community. More on this from Christine Lin Viajante.
After a month-long pursuit versus members of local terrorist groups, government troops finally gained control in far-flung barangay Tampurong, Madalum Town, Lanao del Sur. Being one of the few geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas of the province, the military's presence played a significant role for the community's peace, security, and economic development.
Hindi naman kasi very accessible tong area na to. So sometimes we act as liaison of these other agencies and also liaison ng communities, to include the MILF, to other agencies para mabigay namin kung ano yung situation nila dito, especially ngayon na they are already undergoing their transformation efforts.
To add, troops from the 12th Civil Military Operations Battalion conducted a week-long peace, education, and psychosocial interventions to build strong rapport with the residents.
Kaya natin pinuntahan para mapigilan po natin ang recruitment at maipaalam natin sa mga tao na kung ano ang masamang naidudulot ng mga terorista sa ating lugar. Mainit po ang pagtanggap nila sa atin at sa mga activities na ginawa po natin dito kasamang mga miyembro ng komunidad, nakita po natin ang saya sa kanilang mga kalooban at sa bawat isa sa kanila.
Through constant visitations, community consultation, and dialogue, the Philippine Army was able to assess and identify the essential needs of the community.
Nakita namin yung napakaraming pangangailangan dito sa inyong barangay. Pangalawa lang yung kalsada sa akin. Pero ang number one na nagpalungkot sa akin, may eskwelahan pero wala palang teacher. Nawawalan ng magandang kinabukasan ng ating mga salinlahi. Makita ko naman sa reaksyon nila, makita ko naman sa mga mukha nila, dapat mabigyan natin sila ng pagkakataon. At nakikita ko rin sa mga mukha ng mga magulang kung gaano ang eagerness ninyo. Mabago rin ang buhay ng ating sambayanan at ang ating mga anak.
Furthermore, the residents formally condemned the atrocities brought by LTGs who continue to terrify their simple and peaceful living. For PNA Newsroom, Christine Lin Viajante of PIA Iligan City Information Center.
Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. More establishments open as Metro Manila and nearby areas shift back to general community quarantine. Over 100 persons evacuate from a town in Masbate after it was struck by a magnitude 6.6 earthquake. Local laboratory experts look into the possible use of saliva to test for COVID-19. And the country is likely to avail of a vaccine for COVID-19 by the second quarter next year. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news content, visit our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day and stay safe, everyone.